Classic Restos Trucks Edition Series 2, proudly brought to you by Coburg Truck Parts, Premier One Products, and Shannons Insurance, where you can become a member of the Shannons Club. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Series 2 Classic Restos Trucks Edition, made possible with the ongoing support of my major sponsors. When it comes time for the very best in classic vehicle, home and contents insurance, parts and accessories for your truck, cleaning products for your truck, and for the good egg at breakfast time, go to classicrestos.com.au. The major sponsors' logos are there on the homepage. Click on those to be directed to their websites for more information. And on today's show, I have travelled to Coburg Truck Parts here in Victoria for three major ground pounders, a W model Kenworth, an SAR and an Atkinson, all with a history that attributes to our incredible transport legacy here in Australia. First cab off the rank on today's show, we have Paul with a gorgeous 1969, an original W model. How are you, Paul?
Hi Fletch, good, thanks. Yourself?
Good mate, good. Thanks for getting out of bed and turning up here this morning.
Pleasure mate, pleasure.
It's always a bonus getting out of bed, isn't it?
Yep, and fighting a bit of traffic to get here.
I really appreciate what you guys do. Now mate, 1969 W model Kenworth, awesome old girl, original condition. What's its history?
It started life out as a semi-tipper. Sort of did a bit of general work, and then it ended up in our hands.
Paul, tell us, what's it like to drive as an old truck?
Yeah, pretty good. It's got a good note about it.
Engine and driveline. First, tell us about the engine, then gearbox.
It's a 671 inline Detroit diesel GM. It's natural, non-turbo. 15-speed overdrive Road Ranger, and a single drive. What is it? R170.
Paul, in the time that you've had the truck, have you had to do much to it?
We've done a fair bit at the start when we got it. Yeah, it was a little bit ran down and that, and we just sort of tidied it up. And
I mean, they are, aren't they? I mean, they work to death, these things. I mean, the 1969 truck, I mean, I bet you wouldn't mind $1 in your pocket for every mile it's done.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. I'd be a happy man.
What do the old trucks mean to you? I mean, there's plenty of new stuff getting around these days, but you've got a passion for the old classics. Tell us your view. Where does that come from?
I guess I'm just a bit. I've just had a passion since I was a little kid, and couldn't wait to get in one and own one and drive one, and it's just gone on from there basically.
Give us a rundown on the gearbox. Now, explain the shift pattern and how it actually works on this old girl.
Basically, it's a 15 overdrive, so it's got a hook in it. Basically, you sort of drive it a bit differently to a direct box. It's a bit difficult to get used to. You've got to have it sort of up in the revs a little bit, and once you're used to it, it's fine. But yeah, you can.
It's like riding a bike, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Let's have a look at the body for a sec on this 1969 truck. Isn't it amazing that there's just been some slight subtle changes over the years with Kenworth, but they've still kept that traditional stance of appearance, haven't they?
They have, and they've got a really good name and quality too. So, well, the way I look at it, I'm a little bit biased, but there's Kenworths and there's others. So, no, they're a good truck. So
the beauty too, like Kenworth, obviously cab, chassis. You can select your own engine, driveline. It's your own personal combination to make up your truck too, can't you?
Yeah, you can. I mean, Kenworths are one of the only manufacturers today that basically you can still go in and order pretty much. Build your own truck sort of thing, what specs, what you want, whereas a lot of the newer trucks, they're made to order sort of stock trucks, and that's what you get.
Well, Kenworth goes way back. I mean, interesting history, way back to 1915 in the United States of America, originally designed as logging trucks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, two blokes, Kent and Worthington, they wanted to design their own truck because they couldn't get a truck that was capable of doing what they wanted.
And then when TV shows and movies hit the big screen, like Moving On and Smokey and the Bandit, I mean, it was just Kenworth all the way, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I remember them as a kid for sure.
We've got Ray now, who is the current owner of the truck. How are you, Ray?
Not too bad, thanks, Fletch. Good.
So, mate, you let Paul drive it. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he has a bit of a crack. Yep.
Now, Ray, tell us about the history of this truck.
The truck was bought new as a semi-tipper by a chap called Les Rankin down Bairnsdale Way. He carted sand, gravel and those sort of products, and had a few other owners during its lifetime up until about 15 or 16 years ago, where we founded it at a chicken manure place and just tidied it up a bit and done our bit of work with it, but still needs to be repainted and refurbished, but it'll happen, yeah.
Isn't it great how these guys come along and save the lives of these trucks? I mean, good on you, mate, well done. It doesn't matter if it's not painted, I just love the original look.
Yeah, you find now when you go to some of these truck shows that people tend to flock more to the old unrestored vehicles in their working clothes than they do so much to the shiny U-Butte paint jobs, but yeah, no.
Good on you, Ray. I really appreciate you bringing it along today, mate.
Thank you. Good, Fletch. Thank you.
All right, Paul, I can feel an inkling. It's that time of the show where I think we should kick this big girl in the guts and take it for a bit of a run. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no worries.
Geez, what do we say, Paul? That was absolutely awesome. What a thing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Yeah.
And Fletchy did all right, didn't he?
Fletch did great, yeah. He did great. Better than me.
Geez, I don't know about that. Now stick around, because after the break, Paul returns to show us his 1983 Kenworth SAR. You're watching Classic Restos Trucks Edition. Thanks to my major sponsors. Stay in your favourite chair. I'll be back with more heavy-duty classics after this. Welcome back. Is Fletch having fun here today or what?
I reckon. I'm having a pretty good time too, Fletch.
What do you think of those sexy gear changes Fletchy was doing?
Mate, I was actually really impressed. I stood back and the truck sounded really good.
That was my third time on one of those gearboxes. It is a work of art, and it makes you appreciate the guys that drove them, still do.
Well, mate, for your third time, I think you've done it better than I have, mate. You really impressed me. It sounded really good going up the road. So
you're good on, Paul. Thanks very much, mate. Now, you've got an 83 SAR. What's the deal here?
Yeah, 1983 SAR, 400 Cummins, 13-speed overdrive, Rayco suspension, what is it, SP40s at 3.7s. Yeah, just a good little toy.
Now, Paul, were these often referred to as the stub-nose Kenworth?
To people that probably didn't know them that well, probably, yeah. I mean, as far as we've always known them as SARs, and they were brought out for a reason. Length regulations here in Australia with a 40-foot trailer, W model was too long, so they shortened the bonnet a little bit and basically made the SAR, which raised the cab, shorter bonnet, yep, which give you an extra foot or two in length.
Give us the rundown on this particular truck, Paul. How long have yourself and Ray had it?
We've had it for approximately about 8 years.
Tell us what you love about it. Why did it mean so much to you to get this particular model Kenworth?
Just as a kid, I went in a few and sort of it come up and I thought, yeah, I got to have one, you know. Just I like the look of them, the shape. I like driving them.
Well, Talking of the aesthetics and the way the truck looks, sleeper cab out back. You've even made the bed up, Paul. You've excelled yourself this morning, mate.
Yeah, don't tell too many people that, because...
That's probably the tidiest bed in any sleeper cab.
Oh, yeah, maybe. It's tidy for today anyway.
Now, the beauty of this truck too, Club Rego. What's the situation here in Victoria on that one for other states watching?
Well, basically, it's to have something registered full commercial vehicle. It's virtually impossible these days. So it's an option for people like ourselves that you know, enjoy and have it as a hobby as such, to be able to enjoy and use our vehicles.
For people watching around Australia and other states in New Zealand, United Kingdom, United States of America, it's interesting to hear registration rules and laws and what have you. To register one of these tractor trailers or a prime mover could be around $6,000 or $7,000 normally per year, right?
Per year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going club registration through a club, how dramatic does that drop?
Yeah, it's about $60 to $70 a year, roughly.
Well, see, isn't that good? I mean, that puts us in the classic realm of affordability, and that's what it should be like.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, you can't work them commercially or anything. The rules are pretty strict on that, but for what we do, we don't want to do anything, you know.
Turning up to the dock to pick up a load and she's on Club Rego.
Yeah, I don't think that'd work out too well.
How does the truck drive, Paul? And the time that you've had it, have you had to do much to it?
Not a lot, really. It drives pretty good for an old truck. It sits on the road pretty good. I've been to Alice Springs and you know, all over the country sort of thing with it.
This is why Classic Restos Series 2 of trucks is happening. Series 1 went right off, inspiring Series 2. These are the guys that help a TV show like this happen. And we're not worried about the 1% of idiots out there that make the whole trucking fraternity look bad, because we've got so many guys who have a history here of guys that are second and third generation that have come up over the years, grandfathers that were interstate truck drivers. Really, the legacy of the transport industry here in Australia and around the world really goes back a long way and stands for so much, Paul, doesn't it?
It does, and it means... It means a lot to us, you know, to keep this sort of old truck scene on the go. Again, it gets to the same as people, you know, used to have old cars and want to buy an old car. Well, the trucks are turning that way too. So
it's almost like anything is cool. I mean, old buses, tow trucks. It's almost doesn't matter if it's got wheels and it's old. It's a cool thing. Which now takes us to turning the key in this big girl, and we'll take this for a bit of a wrap, eh?
Yeah, no worries.
You can obtain the DVD boxed sets of Classic Restos Trucks Edition Series 1 and 2, along with other Classic Restos merchandise when you visit classicrestos.com.au. Hope you're really enjoying today's show. Back with more in just a moment. Welcome back. Thanks to the major sponsors. Go to classicrestos.com.au for more information. Rob, welcome to today's show.
Thanks very much, Fletch.
Mate, 1977, a big bad Atkinson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a great truck. I haven't had it for that long. It was a tipper when I got it, and took the tipper body off and trying to get it back to a prime mover.
Yep. Usually it's the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right. They retire them as a prime mover and put the tipper on. But it was a prime mover, and it worked for Booth's Transport, LS Booth, I think it is, in South Australia.
Yep.
And they had a few of them. They tried out the Cummins. It's got a 350 Cummins, a big cam now, with a 15-speed overdrive. Yep. I think Booth's tried out a couple of Cummins, but the drivers didn't like them, and they went to the 871.
What was its engine back in 77?
I think it was still a Cummins, but I think it was a small cam Cummins, yeah.
I remember like back in the late 70s too, like with the release of the NTC 230s and when the Turbo 6s started coming into their own, they really changed the way that the six-cylinder diesels worked entirely in operation.
Well, they did, and I think I was talking to a guy the other day who was running Melbourne-Sydney, and he had a 350 Cummins with a big cam, and he said he was only one of 4 people going up and down and just blew everyone away, and now everyone blows me away.
Yeah, but still though, where credit's due, I mean, they still had some healthy loads when, like, keeping it in retrospect, they were still working very hard for their time.
Yeah, it's still a great truck. I mean, all this time later on, I mean, it's a good, solid truck. Great to drive, and it's on Club Rego, obviously, but I think it's still capable of working, for sure.
When we talk of a big truck, even by today's standards, it still is a big girl. I mean, you stand in front of it, it's tall, it's wide, it is a big truck. We talk of earlier cabs as well, where Leader and Mack shared cab shapes as well. It was an interesting period back in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think that's why they made it like this, because they were, you know, designing for what the customer wanted, and they wanted a big truck like that. They wanted the room. You needed the airflow over the engine too, and they started to think about the driver, about ergonomics and whatever, so they needed a big sleeper and whatever. So,
Rob, the Atkinson truck as we know it, was it only Australia that had this design cab?
yeah, this was designed, that cab, and this is a Mark III, so there was 3 designs. They were built in Clayton, I think called reinforced plastics, and they're built like that. And they originally built all with English components, and slowly they got into the American components. To me, it's an Australian truck.
Built here in Australia, and good old Victoria does it again. Yeah, speaking of the truck too, in its entirety in terms of looking at it, they were an upmarket truck too. I mean, they were a 4-star of a truck, weren't they? I mean, they were a little bit classy.
Oh, they were classy. In 1977, I was driving my Bedford down the highway, and I stopped at Winton Roadhouse, and there was 2 of these brand new, and I looked at it and thought, am I worthy just to touch the bull bar, you know? And now I got one, so yeah, pretty lucky, yeah. And they were great trucks.
As a part of what these great guys stand for, and part of the transport industry, generation after generation of interstate drivers and local drivers, it's now got to the stage where there's events, like big truck shows. Now, you're the organiser of Crawl on the Hume. Quickly tell us about that, Rob.
Oh, well, they started it out of Sydney called Hauling the Hume Back to Yass. I went on that, and I decided to get together with some other people to try and organise one from Melbourne up to there, up to Albury. We've done one in 2012, so the next year we're going to do 2014, bigger than better.
How many trucks turned up?
Well, we're hoping to have 250. The first time there was only a bit over 100. But yeah, and so that's open, and that's in April 2014.
Okay, 12th of April 2014 for Crawl on the Hume. Now, if you're watching this episode and it's past the 12th of April 2014, we do apologise on the behalf, but it is a biennial event, so check your diaries for 2016.
And you can check it out on Facebook. We've got a page there, Crawl on the Hume 2014, and that'll give you all the photos and whatever you want to watch.
Rob, tell us about the gearbox in this big girl. What are you running there?
Oh, well, it's originally a 15-speed overdrive, so round the corner, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Tell me, do you ever forget what ratio you're in? Like, if you just have a bit of a, you know, your mind might wander, do you ever have to stop and look down and think, hang on a second, where am I?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, then I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I've been driving trucks for a long time, and sooner or later you get a brain fade and you don't know where you are. Yeah, everyone, if they tell you different, it's not true.
Geographically as well, you don't know where you are?
That's true too, yeah.
That's a big brain fade.
That's for sure.
Rob, the history of the truck, this particular truck, where did it start its life?
Well, it started in South Australia at Alice Booth as running on the interstate. Obviously, it was an interstate truck because of the big specs and the great big steel bull bar and the twin tanks and whatever. And then after that, I don't know what had happened until it became a tipper. But once it became a tipper, it got driven into the ground. Looked fantastic when I bought it.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, if we just cast our minds back, just imagine this truck, the day that it rolled out of the dealership, and some proud owner or the company that bought this truck, there would have been, if it's an individual person, it's such a step up to buy a brand new truck. If it's a fleet, it's a proud company. There's a lot of legacy, isn't there?
Oh, for sure. It would have been great to climb up into the cab. I mean, yeah, it's still great. It's still really good inside. It hasn't been messed with. So.
And the old story too about truck drivers back in the yard, the driver that had been there the longest, the most experienced, he'd always get the brand new truck.
Yeah, I think that's how it worked.
All right, Rob, well, it's that part of the interview, mate. Well, we better listen to what she sounds like, turn the key, get out there, give it a bit of a drive. What do you think, hey?
Oh, I'm glad to do that, Fletch, yeah.
All right, okay. Let's go do that then.
Okay, thank you. Brakes because we've got such a heavy trailer on.
Well, what do we say? Rob, thanks so much for turning up here today, mate. Love the old Atkinson. Thanks for taking us for a ride and helping to make Series 2 of Classic Restos Trucks Edition what it is.
Well, thank you very much, Fletch. It was a pleasure to take you for a drive, and thank you very much for all the hints on how to change the gears. And it was great, mate. Thank you. And thanks for everything you're doing for the old truck movement. There's a lot of people that love old trucks, and I'm sure they'll appreciate what you've done, and I know your heart's in the right place with the trucks. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. That's my pleasure. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed today's episode of Classic Restos Trucks Edition Series 2. And of course, not possible without the support of the major sponsors. You know who they are. Go to classicrestos.com.au, click on their logos for their website information. Whilst you're there at classicrestos.com.au, the DVD boxed sets of the show are available along with other Classic Restos merchandise as well. As I say at the end of every show, until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.